Hey everybody, and Tony here with the review of the semi-stage concert version of Verdi's La Traviata, live from the Neues Rathaus Hannover in Maschpark, with Keri-Lynn Wilson on the podium alongside the NDR Radio Philharmonie Orchester and also the members of the Staatsoper Chores Hannover, Johannes Brahms Chor, and Mädchenchor Hannover, which was part of the NDR Classic Open Air Concerts. I was mainly interested in this particular live stream because of the three principal players of Marina Rebecca as Violetta Valerie, Francesco De Muro as Alfredo Germont, and Thomas Hampson as Giorgio Germont. With that said, let's get on to what I thought about the entire concert plus the singers conducting and chorus. Since this is a semi-staged version of this opera, there were some pieces of furniture used, like we had a table on one side of the stage, and then in the final act we had Violetta's bed, and we even see the members of the chorus and the principal players being in their suits and their gowns, which look absolutely lovely on them. But if you know me, I always would love to see La Traviata in a real opera house with all of the scene changes, with all of the decorations, and with all of those fine details here and there. As a semi-staged concert, they really use the best that they can to really make it come alive. And not to mention the venue that these guys performed in looked absolutely gorgeous. And every time I saw some pan shots and all of the other shots here and there, I would really love to go there myself in the near future. So this was definitely very elegant in both the semi-staged concert and especially where they performed. And I am looking forward to the day where I will end up going to Hannover just to see one of these events in person. And now we get to the singers, starting off with Marina Rebecca as Violetta. In my opinion, she was the absolute star of the evening, which is no surprise because she is the main character. She is Traviata. She is very much the one who pulls the weight of the entire evening, and she did it with such finesse and pizzazz that I was totally engaged in her performance. Yes, there was one caveat. She didn't hit the high E flat, wrapping up the Sempre Libera, but that's a small dent in what is otherwise a very moving and very awesome portrayal of Violetta. It's no surprise that she has sung this role in a lot of different European and American opera houses, and she continues to find a lot of colors, a lot of facets, and just a lot of things that make Violetta tick, make her happy, and make her all the more human, and she brings them all to the stage, and she's just a very captivating actress all throughout. She was definitely the star of the evening, even though I would have loved to hear her sing that E flat, wrapping up the Sempre Libera. But other than that, I still have to give my hat off to her for what she pulled off and for really being such a very, very involved performer who really threw herself in the drama and just made me go out for her every single time. She really had the audience eating out of the palm of her hand, and she really did everything wonderfully. She had a very gorgeous voice. Her stage presence was very moving and involving, and she was an absolute pro in this role. And then we have Francesco De Muro as Alfredo Germont, who I also saw 2 years ago at the Royal Opera House singing the same role. Here, I thought he was very fine, very solid, and he was an overall very good tenor. However, there's just something missing in his voice. I'm sort of missing that pizzazz. I'm sort of missing that ring and ping I would always love in any tenor singing Alfredo. He did get off to a very lukewarm start in Act 1, but in the final acts, I thought he was way better. I think it really took a lot of time for him to really warm up that fine and solid instrument. His acting was kind of the low point because he wasn't really too convincing as an actor, nor did he have a lot of that fire and passion and enthusiasm, which I can understand because I guess he's just trying to make this approach a little bit more low key, a little bit more as if though he were on either television or film. But come on, this is theater. You really have to very much be explosive and show great amounts of enthusiasm. But despite those shortcomings, he's still a very solid performer. He's a very fine performer all throughout, even though I would have loved to have a little bit more pizzazz in everything he does. He was good. I would love to have a great Alfredo. Being good is okay enough, but not really that much of the level of greatness for me. He was really good, really solid, and managed to sing all his notes very well. He had a very fine and dashing stage presence, though a little bit more pizzazz would have been a lot more of a benefit. And then we go to Thomas Hampson as Giorgio Germont. He's been singing this role for many, many years, and you could really tell how much experience he has in this role. A part of me would have really loved to have a slightly darker voice sing this role, like someone with a little bit more richness and roundness. But what he really gave with Giorgio Germont is he really gave a lot of feeling, a lot of emotion, a lot of drama, a lot of poignancy and pathos, and he really did very well. And his voice was still very fine, quite focused, and still maintains that fresh and youthful quality which he is very known for, even though I would have loved to have a darker, rounder, richer voice singing Germont. He was still very solid as ever, with fine musicianship and an equally awesome stage presence. Then we go to Sharon Carty as Flora, who has a very gorgeous and very solid voice, and she just looked absolutely magnetic on stage. With Anya Vegri as Anina, she was absolutely gorgeous, making the best out of this thankless character role with the help of her fine, mellifluous, gorgeous, and scintillating full lyric soprano voice. And then we go to Carlos Osuna as Gastone, and out of all the smaller roles in this opera, he was the absolute pro. He had a very fine and handsome, dashing and elegant stage presence. His voice was very much gorgeous and has that ring and ping that I could definitely tell that he's going to make that fine transition to Alfredo in the near future. Who knows? I'd really love to hear this guy sing the bigger roles in the near future. He certainly has a wonderful future ahead of him, and there are a lot of great things to come out of this tenor. Then we go to Matthias Winkler as Il Barone du Fol, who has a gorgeous and very fine baritone voice, which he uses very well, and his stage presence is very handsome. And then we have Daniel Egert as Il Marchese d'Aubigny, who has a very solid basso voice and a very, very bright future ahead of him. Martin Jan Niehoff as Il Dottore Grenville, who has a gorgeous basso baritone voice, who manages to really make the best out of this character role and gives him a lot of dignity and feeling. And we have Martin Rainer Leipold as Giuseppe, the manservant, who is also a very wonderful young singer with a very awesome future ahead of him. Overall, the singing was really, really good, with the standout being Marina Rebecca as Violetta among the women, and among the men, we have the standout being Thomas Hampson as Giorgio Germont. These two were absolutely fabulous in their roles, but I also have to give credit to all the singers for what they had to pull off that evening. They all did wonderfully in their own special ways in terms of how they got into the drama and how they managed to contribute everything that they have in order to make this semi-stage concert version of La Traviata work. And the conducting done by Maestra Keri-Lynn Wilson was awesome. She was totally involved in the opera. She was totally involved in the moment. She was totally involved with everything, leading the orchestra and chorus to such a beautiful, beautiful ensemble, and the chorus and orchestra were absolutely solid and wonderful all throughout. So overall, the star of the evening among the women was Marina Rebecca, and the star among the men was Thomas Hampson. Maestra Keri-Lynn Wilson did a very amazing job leading the wonderful orchestra and the wonderful chorus, and everyone really contributed wonderfully to the semi-stage version of La Traviata. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for my review of Bizet's Carmen at the Verdi Festival starring Kate Aldrich. So until then, good night everybody.